I am live. Hey, this is Sebastian. His name's Sebastian. I eat people hardly. And he's trying to tussle here. But let me show you what he's learned in the month or so that he's been here. This is his 6-month birthday. So do what I ask of you. And you might get some good news, okay? Wait a second. Okay, breathe. Good dog. Look at me. Look at me. Yeah, you look at me. Give me a kiss. Give me a kiss. Okay. All right. Eat. Good dog. Good dog. You don't like it that much. Okay. Speak in Hebrew. Woo, 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 woo. Speak in Hebrew. Wear my glasses. Okay. Just write in plain writing what you're feeling right now. Okay, I got it down. Good job. Now take your bone and head over to the kitchen and start dinner. All right, buddy? Okay. Hey, you guys. I have my Jacqueline gift on. Wear it often. People have really appreciated it, respected me, and have had some witty comments about this. I added the glasses because orange is hope, and we got the hope view here together. So let me tell you about Sebastian. And I'm going to share briefly here, and then I want to do a couple shorts and then do our message from the Lord. Prophetic message, important tonight, very important. And so I go into the fourth corner of the yellow house, of the comfort room. And this comfort room has been perfect at this season in our history, in our own lives, in our families, to understand the comfort and mercy of God. I just found a video from about 2 years ago where I spoke of the richness of what I felt in the comfort room, that it was play therapy. It was play in the sight of some of the most difficult situations. I'm going to share that out of Exodus 15, but it was upgrade, and we're moving forward, and there was just humor and wit, and there was substantial confidence in him. And so just this last week, I've been dreaming a lot and then just pondering during the day, and it's been just brilliant. And about the nature of God and adoring him as a comforter, which I usually start out these with, but I'm just going to share with you about Sebastian, the prophetic comforter. And it will speak to us because there is this name that I prayed about, name the dog, and the dog came at a time in my life where God brings symbols and expressions of comfort in the fourth corner is a profound comfort. It's comfort for your past, present, and future. And comfort means come forth, that you come forth into aliveness and all you are. I mean, it's that oil that deals with the fissures or the fractures in our hearts, deals with the foxes, the busyness, those things that are distracting, deals with the snakes that try to bite us on the liver and bite us with bitterness and bite us on our throat and try to stop our voice. And the foxes, fishers, and snakes are what the yellow house is. One real goal with the yellow house is to get us to where we are, those substantial ones, those ones that are not belied by lesser things. So Sebastian, one thing about an animal, just reading about them, is they can have trauma, but generally they have good memories, that they have this ability to be, and it depends on the animal, but to love and forget and to look for a better future and find, as they've done some research, just they can see their memories when they dream, that they can remember the past, present, future with this sense of Philippians 8:4-8, dwelling on what is pure, holy, of good repute, excellence, and praise. And so I'm going to bring you a stunning understanding when we get to this third brief message. But just let me share with you briefly that there was a Saint Sebastian. Saint Sebastian, and I had remembered that with the name, didn't know anything about Saint Sebastian, but it's pretty profound. Saint Sebastian was one that laid hands on somebody that was mute, and they heard again. And in this time, I'm going to speak to how the enemy is trying to bring muteness where we can't speak, can't hear. And then he also, they claimed, as Christians were being very persecuted at that time. He was from Milan, and it was the Roman Empire, and he was soon to be persecuted, but he prayed against the Black Plague, and there was manifestations of healing through him, and the Black Plague, they say, was stayed because of his prayers. A plague, I'm not sure if it was a Black Plague, obviously the time might not have been corresponding. But then they took him out, the emperor, and watched as he got filled full of arrows. They shot him. They were going to kill him. And he was like an urchin, just filled with those piercings. And they allowed St. Irene to take him down from the tree. And she realized he was still breathing and restored him to health. But they said it was a miracle. He was healed. So one of the first things he does is he goes and he's hiding under a stairwell, and the emperor's going to go up the stairwell, and he steps out, and the emperor's astounded because he's alive. And so he listens to him, and he said, I've been saved by the mercy of the Lord. He said, I just have one more message, because he wasn't sure how long the emperor would listen to him. And he said, there needs to be freedom of speech for all, for the believers, and to speak of their Lord Jesus Christ. So the emperor was stunned, then took him to prison, and he was killed. But there was ongoing fruit and embolden others at that time. And so when I came into the fourth corner of the comfort room, I see Sebastian the dog. And then I get to see Saint Sebastian. And his posture was so confident in God's love and God's presence that he wasn't stupefied or mystified by the persecutions or the twisting of what the believers believed. And he was able to bring those who were mute or deaf and they couldn't speak and couldn't hear, had both those into a place where they heard and they spoke. And then he was able to keep the Black Plague from them. And he wasn't thrown away when he got all these arrows shot into him. They didn't leave him. And the Lord just spoke to me as I looked at both of them. This phrase about him, that presently in the body of Christ, there's those that their voices have been stolen and their hearing is confused because of the twisting of words and reality. And there's a comfort for them to have in their past, present, future. He saw his past as I saw him. I was dead with these arrows, but I was then resurrected. I said, and then I got to speak to the Black Plague and got to heal some people. And the present, he was always just looking at the memorial stones of the goodness of God in his life when others would try to cancel that history out. And then his future, he was obviously so happy to meet his Lord. So the Lord spoke to me something interesting. He said, you don't throw out a life if it's a little dinged up. That was his life. And it reminded me of Seabiscuit, where there was this older man that his life obviously had been dinked up. And he said, you don't throw out this horse because it's a little dinked up. And the horse was too little, wouldn't win. And then he, obviously that horse became a champion. And so I realized with Sebastian that name means royalty as well, that we have royalty in our house, but also we got royalty that can poo on your carpet at times. And I mean, in past, present, future, just might keep pooing. And we got a choice with our society, with other cultures, with other people, to see the original design and see they can leave a big, mess. And you are able to see past the mess and restore and redeem the value, the original design of that person, or that city, or that nation. And there's ones of you that really aren't going to throw those ones away because they've been a little beat up or kicked around. Jacqueline was one of the first ones on the call, and I saw just Jacqueline, and I saw her bringing an altogether new view I'm going to speak of in a little while. That was just brings great comfort, great joy about your past, present, and your future. So Psalms 119, 54 through 56 says, I love the house of my pilgrimage because I saw him there in every room of my house, David said. That every season of my life was an invitation, and every situation into deeper intimacy versus into deeper pain or distance. And I just about cried because the Jacqueline will see the royalty we have in our midst, this whole family. And she'll take them in the house and to care for them, even though they might have a little mistakes, messes here and there. I saw Sarah Hendrickson, and I'm going to do this where I just will tell a story. I'll tell the application that's prophetic for all in this season, but it's really a commissioning to these individuals, and others can always take it. That there is a commitment, an agreement I'm going to speak of that's very, very important in this fourth corner of the comfort room, the comforting, being comforted about your past, present, future, and saying that it's a gift it is and what it established in your life. So I just want to say about Sarah Hendrickson, she's one of my dearest just joys. And she's, suffering and being challenged physically. And Luke Hale Hendrickson, her husband, is one of the greatest young men that I've known. And so just this one was called to have a perspective that was the best view in town. That's the heavenly view I'm going to share about the importance for us to live in heaven. It's really now, and how that will free us from lesser emotions, lesser thoughts. And so I just want you to think about that story. Just think about the one that can see with good memories and be very loving and see, although they were shot with arrows, they saw their redemption, that they're alive, they're healed. Then they were able to free from the Black Plague, which I'll speak about how that's come in our hour in the present. They went through the valley of Baca, but they made it a spring, the valley of sorrow. Went through the valley of the shadow of death, and they weren't touched by the death. They were brought through the valley of Achor, place of trouble, in Hosea 2:14, 15, and made it a spring of hope. And so there is a place where God is enabling us to have these greater weapons with the sweet stick. The sweet stick is a confidence like of Sebastian, where God is so good and God's so much above the present challenges and so much has a plan and a future and a hope that we don't fall into Naomi, which was bitterness over life and circumstances where it just brought her down. And you could see she had a challenging existence, but it's against God only that we will make that accusation. And she did not see the Romans 8:30 and 31 that all comes to good to those who love him. And it's a tragedy and a cliff when we don't allow him to mold that perspective in us, his perspective, to dwell on what's pure, holy, of good repute, excellence, and praise. And so just that story. Now I'm going to give you a second story. I'm going to pause, stop this one, and start over. I'm going to give a few stories of maybe just a couple of just what I saw that really touched me in that corner of the yellow house and how important it is with comforting us in the past, present, and the future, and the difference it's going to make forever in our lives. Probably, again, one of the most important times we've had together. And I'll just share with you a couple of the things that I saw and the people that I know that I saw that would be leaders this way, that would lead people into seeing the Joshua memorial stones in their lives and see the growth, see the strength that they had gained, and see who they are today, that they're full success because they haven't succumbed to a past challenge. They're standing alive today and strong. And so I'm going to go to story number 2. So see you in a minute. Bless you. I gotta do this.